bright beauty. Every student matters.
Hello dear students, welcome to another lecture. In this class, we are going to discuss worksheet number 8 of reading section of class 11th Alternative English Nagaland Board. Now, as we have discussed the first 7 worksheets, we know very well how to start, how to end, and how to complete our reading sections. So this worksheet is again going to help us learn better. So let us start reading. Okay. All that is told here happened sometime before Mowgli was turned out of the Sion wolf pack. Now the first line tells us that we are going to read about Mowgli. So what we are going to read happened before Mowgli was turned out. He was dismissed. He was thrown out of the wolf pack. It was in the days when Baloo was teaching him the law of the jungle. The big, serious, old brown bear was delighted to have so quick a pupil, for the young wolves will only learn as much of the law of the jungle as applies to their own pack and tribe, and run away as soon as they can repeat the hunting words. So it was the days when Baloo was teaching Mowgli the law of jungle. Baloo has been described as a big, serious, and old brown colored bear who was very delighted, who was very happy to have a quick pupil, to have a learner for himself. For the young wolves that were there around him will only learn as much of the law of jungle that applies to their own pack and tribe. So the wolves would only learn as much as was useful for them, and then run away as soon as they can repeat the hunting verse. So after they would have learnt the hunting verse, they would just run away and stop being the students. And what was the hunting verse? What was the hunting rule that was taught by Baloo? Feet that make no noise, eyes that can see in the dark, ears that can hear the wind in their lairs, and sharp white teeth. All these things are the marks of our brothers, except Tabaki and Haina, whom we hate. So he would tell that these are the qualities that one always needed, in your brothers in order to become good hunters. Feet that make no noise, that walk noiselessly, eyes that can see in the dark, ears that can even hear the wind blowing. So these were the qualities, except for whom? Tabaki and Haina, whom Baloo said we don't like these two creatures. But Mowgli, as a man cub, had to learn a great deal more than this. Sometimes Bagheera, the Black Panther, would come lounging through the jungle to see how his pet was getting on, and would purr with his head against a tree while Mowgli recited the day's lesson to Baloo. So Mowgli was a cub, a man cub. He was, a human being who, as we know in the story, he was looked after by Bagheera, who was a panther. So he was a human baby of a panther. This is how we know Mowgli. So sometimes Bagheera would come, and when he would see Mowgli repeating the lessons taught to him by Baloo, he would actually become very happy and proud. The boy could climb almost as well as he could swim, and swim as well as he could run. So Baloo, the teacher of the law, taught him the wood and water laws, how to tell a rotten branch from a sound one, how to speak politely to the wind when came upon a hive of them 50 feet above ground, what to say to Mang, who was the bat, when he disturbed him in the branches at midday, and how to warn the water snakes in the woods before he sat down among them. So Mowgli could climb well, he could run well, he could swim well, and Baloo, who was his teacher, had also taught Mowgli a few laws. What were the laws? How to tell, how to differentiate between a branch that was rotten and the branch that was good and healthy. how to speak politely with the bees that were, at a great height when he would disturb them, what to say to the bat whose name was Mang when he would disturb the bat during the daylight, what to say to the water snakes when he would splash inside the water while they were relaxing. None of the jungle people like being disturbed. All are very ready to fly at an intruder, and they are ready to bounce back at an intruder. Intruder is somebody who disturbs them. So they never like being disturbed. Then too, Mowgli was taught the stranger's hunting call, which must be repeated aloud till it answered, whenever one of the jungle people hunts outside his own grounds. It means, translated, give me leave to hunt here because I am hungry. And the answer is, hunt then for food but not for pleasure. So none of the jungle people liked to be disturbed. They were always ready to attack the people who disturbed them. But still, Mowgli was taught the stranger's hunting call. What was the stranger's hunting call? It said that when the jungle people hunted outside the jungle grounds, what all were they supposed to say? The hunter would say that please let me hunt because I am hungry, and the answer would come that okay, fine, you can hunt for fulfilling your hunger but not for pleasure. This was the stranger's hunting call. All this will show you how much Mowgli had to learn by heart, and he grew very tired of repeating the same thing 100 times. But as Baloo said to Bagheera, one day when Mowgli had been cuffed and had run off in a temper, a man's cub is a man's cub, and he must learn all the law of jungle. So this was how Mowgli's lessons were going on, and Mowgli had to learn all of them by heart, and he got very tired because he had to continue to repeat the same thing 100 times. And one day when Mowgli had run off, because he was not in a good mood, he did not like to repeat it again. It was at that time when Baloo said to Bagheera that a man's cub, a man's child is a man's child. And if he has to live in the jungle with the animals, he needs to learn the law of jungle very well. But think how small he is, said the Black Panther. Who would have spoiled Mowgli if he had had his own way? How can his little head carry all thy long talk? And Bagheera would say to him that you have to think of how small he is. He needs to learn everything, but it will take time, How can he retain everything in his mind when he's got such a small head? Is there anything in the jungle too little to be killed? No. That is why I teach him these things, and that is why I hit him very softly when he forgets. So Baloo said that, do you think there is anything in the jungle which cannot be killed only because it is small? No. And that is why I teach him these things, and I also hit him very gently, very softly when he forgets something. Softly? What dost thou know of softness, old iron feet? Bagheera grunted. His face is all bruised today by thy softness. Oh. So Bagheera said to Baloo softly, what do you know of softness? Besides, today his entire face was bruised. It had marks of your paws. And this is what you call softness? This is why Bagheera got very angry. Better he should be bruised from head to foot by me who love him than that he should come to harm through ignorance. Baloo answered very earnestly. What was Baloo's reply to this? That it is better he is bruised by me who loves him. And it is better that he learns all these techniques by me rather than getting injured and rather than getting hurt by somebody who's actually his enemy and who might bruise him and injure him with enmity. I am not now teaching him the master words of jungle that shall protect him with the birds and the snake people and all that hunt on 4 feet except his own pack. He can now claim protection if he will only remember the words from all in the jungle. Is not that worth a little beating? So Baloo said to Bagheera that now I'm teaching him the words of the jungle, something that he's going to use to protect himself from the birds and from the snake people. And that is what will help him to hunt as well. Now, do you not think that even if I beat him, these are some things that he should learn, that he ought to learn to protect himself? So this, as we read, was an extract, was a small portion of the Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. Let us now move on to the discussion of the back exercises. Okay. Baloo was teaching Mowgli the law of the jungle. The jungle people's hunting call is, give me leave to hunt because I am hungry. And the answer is, hunt then for food but not for pleasure. Is there anything in the jungle too small to be killed? He can now claim protection if he will only remember the words from all in the jungle. This is what Baloo had said to Bagheera. Okay, answer the following questions. Who is Mowgli? Mowgli was a man cub. Who is his teacher? Baloo is his teacher. Whose pet is Mowgli? Bagheera, the Black Panther. And why does Mowgli have to learn the law of jungle? Mowgli had to learn the law of jungle so that he could live in the jungle as he was a man cub. Okay, circle 5 words which best describe Mowgli's teacher, that is Baloo. So words that described Baloo: he was strict, he was thorough with his knowledge, he was disciplined, he was protective, he loved Mowgli, that is what he said, he was concerned about Mowgli, he was a little ill-tempered, he used to get angry. Okay. Find the words from the passage that are opposite in the meaning to the words listed below. Knowledge. The opposite of knowledge is ignorance. Questioned is answered. Then undisturbed is disturbed. Light is dark. And remembers is forgets. So you see, my dear students, we have solved very comfortably all the 8 worksheets of the reading section given in your book. The technique for all remains the same. Read the passages, read the poems very sincerely, keep a pencil in your hand, underline the words and the phrases you feel are important, and then move on to the questions, and you'd be able to find their answers easily. So I hope you all have got a good grasp over the reading section and will be able to score very well. So I'm going to pause here now and will see you all in my next lecture. Thank you.